Disclosure of prices of COVID-19 shots bought from China. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez insists we've actually saved up to $700 million from the deal. The president once again took a swipe at his critics over at the Senate. This time, he's telling them to use Pfizer's vaccine just days after a number of senior citizens died after receiving the shots.
Kontrata sa Pfizer, sa Pfizer. Gusto ninyong Pfizer, kayo mga senador. In Norway, 25 persons died after receiving Pfizer vaccination. Gusto ninyo, mag-order kami para sa inyo.
The health department is considering performing house-to-house vaccinations, particularly for the so-called vulnerable sectors. Hashtag Defend UP trends online as the Defense Department unilaterally ends its agreement with the University of the Philippines, which prohibits military activities within the campuses of the State U. And Grammy-nominated superstars BTS are joining the Smart family as the brand's newest ambassadors.
And with that, we're proud to announce Simple Smart Ako!
Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. President Duterte is backing vaccine czar Carlito Galvez on keeping the actual prices of vaccines from the public. During his latest public address, Duterte explained that the government cannot disclose such information since every negotiation yields different prices. This after the administration drew flack over the discrepancy between the pricing of China's Sinovac vaccine.
And the pricing and the paper will not be final until it is reviewed by the Secretary of Finance kasi siya yung magbayad, pati ako. I don't know why are you so occupied sa corruption na maghanap kayo hindi dito, baka sa inyo, baka sa departamento ninyo, hindi dito sa akin.
Without disclosing the rates, Galvez claims that the government saved $700 million, or almost half of the price of the vaccines. That is equivalent to over 33 billion pesos in supposed savings. Galvez added that the vaccine deals are clean, since officials will not be the ones handling the payments.
Wala po tayong hinahawakan ng pera. Ang pera po, ang magbibayad po, bangko. Kung hindi po tayo roon ang tinatawag nating corruption because of the World Bank integrity at saka po yung Asian Development Bank.
Meanwhile, President Duterte criticized senators who supposedly favor the Pfizer vaccine. In last night's address, Duterte dared senators to take the Pfizer vaccine if they want to end up like the reported elderly who died in Norway after receiving the shots. This despite the matter still undergoing investigations by health authorities. The president added that he will not stop Filipinos from receiving Pfizer shots amid these reports. Duterte again defended Sinovac, saying without proof that no one has died yet from the Chinese vaccine.
Gusto ninyong Pfizer, kayo mga senador. In Norway, 25 persons died after receiving Pfizer vaccination. Gusto ninyo, mag-order kami para sa inyo. Gusto ninyo, paulit-ulit.
Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez calls for the passage of another bayanihan law that will aid vaccine recipients should they experience serious side effects. But the health department maintains all vaccines undergo a rigorous review process. Ria Fernandez has the report.
The government seeks to indemnify Filipinos who will experience serious side effects from anti-COVID vaccines. Deputy Minority Leader Carlos Zarate pried who will be responsible should immunization go wrong for some individuals. Immediate response lies with the Health Department, says Secretary Francisco Duque.
Ay kaya nga po kanina na banggit ko kung pwede po i-legislate yung indemnification fund para mapondohan ang programa nito. So, our people, the individuals who will experience serious side effects can be adequately compensated.
The indemnification clause is also part of the government's deal with the COVAX facility. It strips any liability off of the manufacturers unless there is willful neglect on their end. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez thinks a legislation may be needed to address this.
Alalahanin po natin, meron po tayong 40 million po na, 40 million na doses na nakasalalay po dito. Mas maganda po sana, yun po ang inano namin, na magkaroon ng bayanihan 3, na isama na rin po yung indemnification clause.
Galvez says the initial rollout of vaccines via the COVAX facility is set to begin this February. Some 22 million Filipinos stand to benefit from it. The COVAX shots come on top of the 148 million doses eyed for purchase by the government. Galvez reiterated that the approach for procuring vaccines has always been centralized to better negotiate lower prices for bulk orders. He denied claims that government has a monopoly on procurement efforts, leaving LGUs to fend for themselves.
Given there is not enough supply yet, the Philippine national government approach is to pool national volumes to get a seat at the negotiating table and secure the most number of vaccines at the best prices.
Duque also appealed to the public to trust the authorities' choice of vaccines since they have passed the rigorous review of experts. Dr. Edsel Salvana of the UP National Institutes of Health also noted the high efficacy rates of the shots from Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and even China-made Sinovac in preventing the development of severe infections.
Pinaka-importante po talaga na ma-deploy natin yung mga vaccines that can prevent severe disease. At ang bakuna na nakaka-prevent ng severe disease ay makakapababa sa panganib ng pagkamatay sa ating vulnerable population.
But Salvana reminds recipients to still observe minimum health standards since the vaccines can only do so much. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
The Interior Department says local government units will initially buy COVID-19 vaccines for only half of their population. Speaking with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Interior Undersecretary Epimaco Densing said the national government will supply vaccines for the rest of the population to ensure that poorer localities will also be inoculated. He added that mass vaccination is, first and foremost, the responsibility of the national government.
Kaya lang, meron tayong mga local government units na nagmamadali, no? Na gusto nilang bakunahan na lahat ng kanilang mga constituency. So, pinayagan po natin to. In fact, ang Pilipinas lang po, ang katangi-tangi sa buong mundo na nagpapapayag po na pwede ring bumili ang ating mga local government units at mga private sector companies or corporations na bumili ng bakunas.
In the same interview, Densing also weighed in on the supposed fake news regarding Sinovac vaccines.
Yung mga haka-haka nila na sinasabi na priority ang Sinovac, hindi po totoo yun. Maski po sa presyo, nakikita ko ninyong presyo, lahat po yan internet o ginugoogle lang po nila. Estimate lang po yan, wala pang binibigay na presyo yung ating gobyerno dahil po lahat ito ay kasama sa non-disclosure agreement na pinirmahan natin. But we are assuring the public that these are competitive prices at hindi po malayo sa presyo ng mga bakunang binibili na rin ng ibang mga bansa.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. From Filipino Star ngayon, the Health Department is considering conducting house-to-house vaccinations for high-risk individuals who cannot go to designated vaccination centers. Health Secretary Francisco Duque said the move seeks to prevent COVID-19 infections among senior citizens and other vulnerable individuals. The Philippine Star reports that the IATF is eyeing to place some COVID-free areas under the new normal classification. This means these areas will no longer be under quarantine, but will still be required to follow health and safety protocols. The palace said the IATF is now finalizing the do's and don'ts for these new normal areas. And the Freeman reports that Cebu City is not imposing a citywide lockdown, despite the increase in COVID-19 cases in the city. Instead, the local government said granular lockdowns may be implemented if more infections will continue to be reported in certain barangays. The Octa research team says COVID-19 transmission in the country is not showing any signs of slowing down after the holidays. In an interview with One News' The Chiefs, Octa research fellow Guido David said the reproduction rate of COVID-19 in the country is currently at 1.2, while Metro Manila's is at 1.1. However, David revealed that the cause of the continued spike in the national rate isn't actually in Metro Manila.
Hindi naman siya increasing masyado sa NCR, yung R0, it's medyo stable between 1.10 and 1. It was 1.15 just the other day. So it's stable naman, but it means it's increasing. Yung number of cases is increasing, albeit slowly. Pero sa other places in the Philippines, yun nga, the cases are increasing quite fast.
In other news, the Defense Department has ended its decades-long accord with the University of the Philippines, which prohibits state forces from entering its campuses. The DMD notified the university of the termination through a letter from Secretary Delfin Lorenzana addressed to UP President Danilo Concepcion. In the letter, Lorenzana cited incidents which undeniably showed that some UP students are members of the CPP-NPA as basis for the abrogation of the agreement. However, the Defense Secretary failed to offer any evidence to support his claims. Kabataan Party List Representative Sara Elago believes that this step signals intensified attacks on academic freedom, as well as increasing violation of human rights of students, teachers, and education stakeholders. Former Human Rights Commissioner and Akbayan Party List's Eta Rosales reminded Lorenzana that UP and its students need no saving. Rosales said the government should instead focus on saving and protecting the West Philippine Sea, where, quote, real and present threat exists. On the other hand, the UP Manila Student Council vowed to continue the struggle for academic freedom and democratic rights. The council added that it will not cower to the so-called deceptions of government institutions that, quote, only serve to further curtail freedoms. The much-awaited collab is here. Grammy-nominated group BTS will headline Smart Communications' Passion with Purpose campaign. Smart says this is their biggest campaign to date, and it is set to be released sometime this first quarter. BTS members announced that they are the newest ambassadors of Smart in a short clip released yesterday. The team-up made it to the top of Twitter's trends list shortly after the video was released. Smart President and CEO Al Panlilio hopes that the brand's newest ambassadors will inspire more Filipino youth to find purpose in everything that they do.
And with that, we're proud to announce Simple Smart Ako.
Here are the stories to watch out for later today. Hashtag Defend UP. Several youth groups will be staging protest actions to condemn the termination of the UP-DND Accord. Norway will not be changing its policy on the use of Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine, despite some reported deaths after receiving the shots. And the lockdown at the U.S. Capitol has been lifted hours after a fire broke out near the area. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We're One News.